So we're in Storyline and we're going to import the artboard to use as a template, and then we're going to start bringing in the assets. For this particular one, it's primarily text, so there's not going to be much to import. Actually, come to think about it, there's like nothing to import. We could just replicate it in Storyline. So what we're going to do is go to File, go to Export for Screens, and then it has all the artboards. I'm going to clear the selection, and we only want to export this one here. Export the artboard. We could leave it as PNG, and let's export it. It's going to show up, and find the location that you have your assets or where it exported. Mine is going to be in a folder. I just put it here under assets, and we have our exported image. And then we're going to go into Storyline. Now I want to let you know that that feature of exporting is not the one that we're going to use the most often. We use the export for screens just to export the design layout and use as a template, or a template like a reference guide so you can replicate it. The other times we're going to be doing the export assets feature, which is here, and that's when we drag things over, but we won't do that right now. All right, in your folder we're going to drag over the screen, and because the dimensions are pretty much the same, the dimensions actually for this one was 1920 by 1080, so it's just more higher resolution than the one we have here. Doesn't really matter if that's the case. And here we're going to replicate the cover slide, or replicate this design. We're going to insert a text, go to insert, go to text box, and let's copy it, or copy the text. Highlight all. I'm going to do justify middle, and I'm not sure what the text is. Let me go back to Illustrator here. The font is Poppins, and if you don't have the font, you can download the font, search it up in Google. If you don't have the font, we can use Arial, but since I have the font, I'm gonna find it here. What is that? Let's just go here. Poppins. All right, let's increase the size. Let's make it bold. Stretch it out, or stretch the box, and let's make it white. Okay. Even if I don't know if you call that the tracking or the kerning is not exact, that's fine. I think in Illustrator there are options of shrinking. Oh, that's extra bold. Sorry, extra bold. Let's do extra bold. Okay, there we go. And then let's decrease the size. All right, here we go. Effective leadership. We also want to create the background color the same. We're going to insert a rectangular box, and there are multiple ways to get let me right click and change the border outline, the line color to none. Fill color, one way to do it is find the actual fill color. Oh, you know what? I just realized that the fill color here is a gradient and it's not a solid color. So this one, instead of trying to replicate the gradient in the actual shape tool here, we're just going to import the gradient image from Illustrator. So this is how you export individual assets. What you're going to do is select the particular element, and then we're going to drag it over to the asset export. And if you don't see asset export, go to window and check asset export. And then we're going to drag it over. I get in the habit of holding Alt as well. Just sometimes when you have grouping objects, if you don't hold Alt, all of the elements can just get split up. So let me see if I could do this as an example here. Nope, not that one. Let me ungroup it. So like, for example, if we ended up selecting these two and drag it over without holding Alt, it shows up as two individual elements. So I like to get in the habit of just holding Alt. And then you have the asset export. I recommend you to scale it to at least double, because this is 1920 by 1080. This is much bigger than the Storyline one. You technically don't need to scale it to 2, but I normally like to scale it to double, just so that the quality looks, extra crisp. And if the slide dimensions, or if the monitor or if the module player gets stretched out to fill the browser for certain monitors, then it will still look crisp. So I tend to scale it by 2. You don't have to. select it, export, and then let's export it to the same folder. No. And go to storyline, go back to storyline. Let's get rid of this rectangle. Drag the background picture. Now, because this is covering the template picture or image, we're gonna drag the image to the bottom. Now it's behind it. See? Honestly, I can't really see if the gradient is there. Let me just preview. I guess there's a little bit of gradient. Okay. And I noticed there's slight like white borders around it. I don't know why, but I'm gonna stretch it out maybe by 1 pixel. So what you could do is select it, hold shift, or just scale it up. Never mind, just scale it up for a little bit. Okay, now preview. Oops, I don't know what happened. Why is, okay. Let me drag it back down. What? Oh, there we go. All right, next we have effective leadership. We're gonna also do the text on the bottom. Let's go, I just duplicated it by holding Control, and this is gonna be a smaller font. I think maybe just Poppins. Okay, there we go. Shrink it. Then for the font, just gonna do a shortcut and just, ooh, I think because of this mouse cursor, it won't let me sample it properly. Let me go to, just copy, okay, there we go. I'm gonna change the text for the modern workplace. And I'm thinking the font is actually a different font because it looks, I'm not sure. All right, to align it to the center of the canvas, go to Format and hit this button right there. Align center. Okay, next. I wouldn't worry too much about the spacing being off a little bit. Just leave it. Let me see if there's a light. Nope. Okay. Yeah, just leave it as is. Now we want to create the start button. Go to insert, go to shape, go to rounded corners, kind of match the size, drag it down. Okay, there we go. And then you can just type inside, start. It's gonna be Poppins, extra bold, start. Okay. Thinking the one that we got from Illustrator, it is spaced out a little bit. So let's go here, character spacing, let's go loose. Okay, let's change the color to, if you do Control Enter, it takes you to the format shape. I forgot what the color was, there we go. Okay, now eventually if you just do project colors, all the colors that you use in your project will be here. And that would be helpful as well. Okay, now we got the start. Let's cover that. I see a little outline. Let's get rid of the outline. Line style, line color. We're gonna do no line. And then we have a few more text. I'll hold Control. This one is eLearning module. Let's make it white. All right, so we got the bottom text, the button, the heading text, or the main hero title text. And then this is gonna be, say that's just the logo. So let's export that. Okay, back to Illustrator. Let's select the two. Remember I told you about holding Alt, drag and hold Alt. That way it shows up as one character or one element. And I'm actually not very good at labeling every single item. For you, it's probably helpful to label it. Maybe you can call this the logo. Export, export, go back to storyline, drag the logo. Of course, this is all fake. This is a fake logo. Now, if we get rid of, if we hide the template cover slide, we're left with, we just replicated that look, all in storyline. And if we preview, we have the title. And right now, the skin is dark, the player is dark, the background color is dark. So I think for this one, it may be better to, where is it? Oh, go to player. Let's make it light. Okay, here we go. Preview. And yeah, I think this looks better. Okay. Another thing that we want to do is whenever you start a new storyline project, go to the player button and you want to check seek bar, because almost every single time there's going to be a seek bar, or you're going to have voiceover and you want to have the option of having a seek bar in your module so that the learner knows how far they are in the slide and gives them an idea of how many more seconds or minutes they have left to go. That's it for part 2. See you in part 3.